Hi, good people. I hope you're well. So today we are doing a format. We've just tried to change our format, and today we are just doing this journal where we've termed it as understanding placental previa types and complications, and what are the antenatal protocols that are put in place was to prevent such such issues. So along the lecture, we'll also look at some of the common myths, of which I'll just list them, then we'll look at the facts behind it. So there is one myth that talks about placenta previa always requires immediate delivery. No, that's a myth. Two, we've one says that placenta previa is caused by physical activity, of which is something that throughout our lecture or throughout our discussion, we'll have a clear look at it, and we'll be at par with the current guideline. So you can just chill, and we let's start now our show. Thank you. So back to what we've been talking about. It's all about understanding placenta previa. So we are decoding placenta previa. What is it? Why does it matter? So just for starters, what is placenta previa? So we can term it as, when the pregnancy, it's a pregnancy condition in which the placenta implants in the lower segment of the uterus, and it can be partially or even completely covering the internal os. Then you need to know, because the cervix is the exit point for delivery. So the placental placement in this area, it always poses a significant risk. Particularly, we talk of bleeding during pregnancy and also childbirth. So that's all about what is placenta previa. So once we've known about what placenta previa and what are the significant risks that it poses, so why is it a concern? So you need to know, as the pregnancy advances, now the lower uterine segment always stretches and the placental attachment may shear. So this shearing may lead to painless vaginal bleeding, and this is often sudden and also severe. So you ought to know also, this bleeding can threaten both maternal and fetal life if it's not promptly managed. So that's why we can say, now, why is this placenta previa a concern? That is because the bleeding can threaten both mother and the fetal life if it's not promptly managed. So let's go now to our common myth that we always know. One, we've talked of placenta previa always requires immediate delivery. So in fact, you need to know that many cases are always managed until the fetal maturity. Then if bleeding is always controlled. So ideally, they always try to manage these cases until the fetus has matured well, and we also try to control bleeding. So that is to debunk the myth that placenta previa always requires immediate delivery. No, if the bleeding is controlled, then we can try achieve the fetal maturity. That's when delivery can kick in. Then the second myth that most people uh, it talks of the placenta previa is caused by physical activity. So just a fact behind this myth, you need to know that is related to implantation site, is not always the maternal effort. So physical activity does not contribute to placenta previa. Know about that, okay? So what about the normal versus placenta previa? So this is just a conceptual comparison. So for normal placenta, it's always attached to the upper uterine wall, and and normally it's always away from the cervix. But if we try check now for placenta previa, it's always attached low in the lower part of the uterus, and it's always near, or even there are those that cover the cervical opening. So what are the types of placenta previa? Let's have just a closer look at it. One, we talk of marginal, we talk of partial, we talk of complete. Okay. So when you start with the marginal one, you need to know that the placental edge reaches the margin of the internal os but does not cover it. So vaginal delivery may be still possible, but we need also to do close monitoring. That's about marginal placenta previa. Two, with partial placenta previa. So for partial placenta previa, you ought to know that the placenta partially covers the cervical os. So as the cervix tries to dilate, there's always bleeding risk, which increases significantly. That is with a partial placenta previa, like vaginal, which we've said vaginal delivery may still be possible, but under close monitoring. What about complete? When we talk about complete, another term is always known as total placenta previa. So at this point, the placenta completely covers the internal loss. So vaginal delivery is always contraindicated at this point, since the cervical loss has already been covered completely. So we need to do the planned cesarean section is always required. Okay. Then you'll always meet there are people who will try to compare between the transient and the persistent placenta previa. So when you talk about transient, is always termed as the low-lying placenta. So this is always diagnosed early in pregnancy and often resolve as the uterus grows and the placenta moves upwards. Okay. What about persistent? Persistent, it means that the placenta remains in the lower segment in the third trimester, and it always requires planned delivery strategies. So it has not yet moved, unlike the other one, which moves upwards. So what are the potential risks and complications? So for maternal risk, we talk of issues like antepartum hemorrhage, and we've said they always present with painless, recurrent bleeding. Then hypovolemic shock, since these people are bleeding, so shock is always there. Then anemia, and at this point we need to do blood transfusion. Then there's always increased risk of postpartum hemorrhage, PPH. There's a video that we've done about postpartum hemorrhage. In case you have some time, you can check throughout our channel. Then finally, we have surgical complications during cesarean section, because we've talked of like the complete or the total placenta previa, which the placenta has already covered the internal cervical os. So vaginal delivery is always contraindicated. So we have to do the planned C-section. So it also poses a risk for surgical complications if it's not well done or well managed. What are the risk factors? The infants are always, or the unborn baby is always at risk of preterm birth due to issues like emergency delivery, then low birth weight, fetal hypoxia, then there is respiratory distress syndrome, not forgetting about increased perinatal morbidity and also mortality rates. So in case of an emergency scenario, so we need to do immediate medical attention is always required. And in case there is sudden painless vaginal bleeding, so then some will even present with bleeding that is heavy or even recurrent, and they might be having signs of shock. We can talk of tachycardia, pallor, and also dizziness. So that's an emergency scenario that prompt intervention has to be taken care of. So I know you're asking yourself, so what can we do? Why? How can we have a safer pregnancy? So at this point now we'll look at the antenatal protocols. So what are the diagnostic methods that we can use so as to have a safer pregnancy and also some sort of guideline throughout labor? So we do the diagnostic methods where we rely mainly on the ultrasound. So at this point we do transabdominal ultrasound. It's mainly done for screening. Okay. And this is the golden or the gold standard for accurate placental localization. So through the ultrasound, we can also check where the placenta is. Okay, and that makes up the gold standard. Then we can also do serial monitoring. This entails, it's all about the repeated scans, mainly the second and third trimester. So we want to assess if there is placental migration. So you might find one head like the transient, which often resolves as the uterus grows and the placenta always moves up. So that's why we are talking of under diagnostic method, the aspect of serial monitoring. So we are doing repeated scans. And remember, the gold standard for accurate placental localization is always the ultrasound. Okay. Then management strategies. So one, For expectant management, so in case we're having stable patients with minimal or vaginal bleeding, so we ought just to do bed rest and we need to observe them. Then hospitalization is mainly done for recurrent bleeding or even those who are always at high risk cases. Then we need also to do planned C-sections. This always we schedule at around week 36 to 37 for complete or persistent placenta previa. Those that we cannot do vaginal delivery or where vaginal delivery is contraindicated. Okay. So what are the lifestyle adjustments that one can do? I know you can find a mom, probably you're having placenta previa. So what's the lifestyle adjustment that you ought to do? So one, we need to avoid sexual intercourse. Why are we avoiding? Because we want to provide the aspect of pelvic rest. Then we can also limit strenuous physical activity. Then we need to avoid vaginal examinations unless there is an indication or it's absolutely necessary to do so. Then we need also to educate on the early signs of bleeding and when can they seek help. Okay. So up to this point, we've done something more about placenta previa. We'll just end by doing optimizing outcomes. What is the holistic approach to placenta previa? So you need to know for placenta previa, we need to do multidisciplinary team. And this care, it mainly involves the obstetrician, the midwife, with a nurse, with an anesthetist, then with the neonatologist, neonatologist. So we need to have a collaboration, and this collaboration will always ensure readiness for emergencies and also optimal maternal and fetal outcomes. Okay. Then, in case you are having any other thing or you are having any questions, you are supposed to ask your healthcare provider. So you ask them, what type of placenta previa do I have? Then you can also ask, what are the warning signs that I should watch for, and when and how will my baby be delivered? Okay. Then in case now for the aspect of looking ahead, so we focus on the post-delivery care and also future pregnancy. Like for post-delivery care, we need to do close monitoring because we say it also poses a risk of postpartum hemorrhage. So it might be secondary postpartum hemorrhage. That's why we ought to do close monitoring. What about future pregnancies? So you need to know that there is always an increased risk of reoccurrence. So for future pregnancies, you can do early ultrasound is always recommended in the subsequent pregnancies. Okay. So just your takeaway home. So you need to know that placenta previa is a serious but is a manageable obstetric conditions. So in case for when we do early diagnosis and carefully monitoring and we do appropriate delivery planning, then outcomes for both the mother and the baby can significantly be improved. That's our takeaway home. So if you have any question, you can just post it down, then we'll try answer your questions. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.